the Delhi Sultanate. The Turkish invasions. Arabs traded with India since old times, dating back to the 7th century, when Indian kings ordered trained horses from Arabs for their cavalry. During the early years of the 8th century, the territories of Sindh and Multan came under the control of the Arabs of the Umayyad Caliphate. The Arab control lasted for more than 150 years, during which the Abbasid Caliphate, known for the Islamic Golden Age, left its cultural impression on India. Science, astronomy, mathematics, medicine, etc. flourished as a result of cultural exchange between the Arabs and Indians. The power and glory of the Arabs slowly faded with the coming of the Turks in India. The two most prominent Turkish invaders were Mahmud of Ghazni 1000 to 1026 and Muhammad Ghori 1175 to 1206, which led to the weakening of indigenous Indian rule and establishment of the Delhi Sultanate began with Mamluk slave named Qutb ud-Din Aybak. Fact: Mahmud of Ghazni invaded India 17 times in a span of 25 years, CE 1000 to CE 1025.
The rule of the 5 dynasties of Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi Sultanate is a term used to cover 5 short-lived dynasties, Delhi-based kingdoms or sultanates, mostly of Turkic and Pashtun Afghan origin in medieval India. The sultanates ruled from Delhi between 1206 to 1526, when the last was replaced by the Mughal dynasty. The 5 dynasties were the Mamluk dynasty 1206 to 1290, the Khilji dynasty 1290 to 1320, the Tughlaq dynasty 1320 to 1414, the Sayyid dynasty 1414 to 1451, and the Afghan Lodi dynasty 1451 to 1526. The Sultanate ushered in a period of Indian cultural renaissance. The resulting Indo-Muslim fusion of cultures left lasting syncretistic monuments in architecture, music, literature, religion, and clothing. It is surmised that the Urdu language, literally meaning horde or camp in Turkic dialects, was born during this period as a result of the intermingling of the local speakers of Sanskritic, Prakrits, with immigrants speaking Persian, Turkic, and Arabic under the Muslim rule. The Delhi Sultanate is the only Indo-Islamic empire to have enthroned a female ruler in India, Razia Sultan, 1236 to 1240. In 1526, the Delhi Sultanate was absorbed by the emerging Mughal Empire.
The Mamluk or Slave Dynasty 1206 to 1290. Mamluk, literally meaning owned, was a soldier of slave origin who had converted to Islam. The phenomenon started in 9th century and gradually the Mamluks became a powerful military caste in various Muslim societies. In 1206, when Muhammad Ghori died, he had no child. So, after his death, his sultanate was divided into many parts by his slaves or Mamluk generals. One such slave dynasty was founded in northern India by Qutb ud-Din Aybak, a Turkic general from Central Asia. Qutb ud-Din Aybak became the Sultan of Delhi, and that was the beginning of the slave dynasty. It was the first of 5 unrelated dynasties to rule India's Delhi Sultanate from 1206 to 1290. Qutb ud-Din Aybak, 1206 to 1210. He was successful in temporarily quelling the rebellions of Nasiruddin Quabcha of Multan and Tajuddin Yildiz of Ghazni. He made Lahore his capital and consolidated his control over North India through administrative hold over Delhi. He ruled for 4 years until he had a fatal accident while playing Chogan, polo. In his brief rule, he built the Quwat-ul-Islam Mosque in Delhi and the Athai-Din Ka Jhopda Mosque in Ajmer. He started the construction of Qutub Minar in Delhi, which is dedicated to a famous Sufi saint of that time, Qutbuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. After he died, the minar was completed by his successor Iltutmish. He is also remembered as Lakh Baksh or giver of lakhs because of his generosity. Shams-ud-Din Iltutmish, 1211 to 1236. He was the third ruler of the Mamluk dynasty of Delhi. He was a slave of Qutbuddin Aibak and later became his son-in-law and close lieutenant. He was the governor of Badaun when he deposed Qutbuddin's successor, Aram Shah, and acceded to the throne of the Delhi Sultanate in 1211. Some of the important tasks completed by Iltutmish during his reign were: he shifted capital from Lahore to Delhi, remained the ruler until his death on 1st of May 1236. He suppressed all internal revolts and also checked external invaders successfully. He warded off the Mongol threat by refusing asylum to King Jalaluddin Mangaparni in 1221. He consolidated his power by capturing southern Bihar in 1225 to 1226 after death of Genghis Khan in 1227. Sindh and Multan were incorporated into the Delhi Sultanate and placed under separate governors. Starting in 1226, Iltutmish began a series of campaigns against the Rajputs. Ranthambore was taken in 1226, Mandsaur in 1227. Bayana, Ajmer and Sambhar were also captured. Nagaur was captured in 1230 and Gwalior in 1231. He introduced the silver tanka and the copper jital, the two basic coins of the Sultanate period, with a standard weight of 175 grains. He introduced Iqtadari system, division of empire into Iqtas, which were assigned to the nobles and officers in lieu of salary. He built the Hauz-e-Shamsi reservoir in Mehroli in 1230, which also has Jahaz Mahal standing on its edge, used by later Mughal emperors. In 1231, he built Sultan Ghari the mausoleum of his eldest son, Prince Naziruddin Mahmud, which was the first Islamic mausoleum in Delhi. He got completed the construction of Qutub Minar. His own tomb exists within the Qutub complex in Mehroli, Delhi. Razia Sultan, 1205, October 13, 1240. Also known as Razia al-Din, was the Sultan of Delhi from 1236 to May 1240. Razia Sultan was the only woman ruler of both the Sultanate and the Mughal period. Iltutmish designated his daughter Razia as her heir apparent. With reluctance, the nobility agreed to allow Razia to reign as Sultan of Delhi. She dressed like a man and sat in open darbar. As Sultan, Razia preferred a man's tunic and headdress, and contrary to custom, she would later show her face when she rode an elephant into the battle as the head of her army. She was an efficient ruler and possessed all the qualities of a monarch. A shrewd politician, Razia managed to keep the nobles in check while enlisting the support of the army and the populace. Her greatest accomplishment on the political front was to manipulate rebel factions into opposing each other. Razia established schools, academies, centers for research and public libraries that included the works of ancient philosophers along with the Quran and the traditions of Muhammad. Having been defeated in a battle of succession, Razia was killed on October 13, 1240 at Kaithal in modern-day Haryana. Fact: Razia refused to be addressed as Sultana because it meant wife or mistress of a sultan. She would answer only to the title of Sultan. Other Mamluk Sultans 1240 to 1266. Razia's death brought instability in ruling and administration of the Delhi Sultanate. Muizzuddin Bahram, who was Razia's brother, became the Sultan in 1240. The Mongol attack and the politics of the nobles ended his rule in 1242. Alauddin Masood came to the throne in 1242. He became infamous due to his fondness of entertainment and wine. The nobles and chiefs deposed him in 1246. Naziruddin Mahmud, a sultan with a religious temperament, took over the reins. He was very simple and spent most time in prayers and helping the poor. It was actually his deputy sultan or naib, Ghiyasuddin Balban, who primarily dealt with the state affairs. After Mahmud's death in 1266, Balban, 1266 to 1287, rose to power as Mahmud had no children to be his heir. Ghiyasuddin Balban, 1266 to 1286. He was the 9th Sultan of Mamluk dynasty. He was son of Central Asian Turkic noble of Ilbari tribe, but was brought as a slave by Sultan Iltutmish in 1232 CE. Balban ascended the throne in 1266 at the age of 60 with the title of Ghiyasuddin Balban. One of the famous military campaigns of Balban was against Mayo, the people of Mewat, who used to plunder the people of Delhi even in the daylight. During his reign, Balban ruled with an iron fist. He tried to establish peace and order in the country of India. He built many outposts in areas where there was crime and garrisoned them with soldiers. Sultan Balban had a strong and well-organized spy system. He introduced the Persian system of Sichta and bowing one's head to touch the ground before the Sultan. He ruled as the Sultan from 1266 until his death in 1286 and was succeeded by his grandson Muizzuddin Kaikwad, whose reign 1287 to 1290. His successors were weak and incompetent, and the throne was eventually captured by Jalaluddin Firuz Khilji in 1290, bringing an end to the slave dynasty. Mamluk Sultans, a review. The Mamluk or the slave sultans had some common problems which almost all sultans faced during their reign. These common problems were interference, hostility, and treachery from the nobles. Most of the time the sultans had to keep themselves safe from the conspiracy of the nobles. To monitor the activities of the nobles was the formidable task of the Mamluk sultans. The Mongols united under Genghis Khan were a power that always posed to be a disaster for the sultans. Mongols plundered and killed without any mercy, and the Sultanate proved weak against their onslaught. The neighboring Indian states, especially the Rajputs were the major Mamluk sultans, could crush the power of the neighboring kings who continued to be a threat to the Sultanate. The Khilji dynasty, 1290 to 1320. The Khilji was a Muslim dynasty of Turkic origin who ruled large parts of South Asia between 1290 and 1320. It was founded by Jalaluddin Firuz Khilji and became the second dynasty to rule the Delhi Sultanate of India. Jalaluddin Firuz Khilji, 1290 to 1296. His original name being Malik Firuz, he was the first sultan of the Khilji dynasty. He built his capital at Kilughari, a few miles from the city of Delhi, and completed the unfinished palace and gardens of Sultan Kaikabad, whom he had exceeded. During his reign, a horde of more than 1 lakh Mongols invaded India. He managed to arrange a peace treaty with an invading Mongol army in 1292, in which a great-grandson of Genghis Khan named Algu embraced Islam. By 1292, Jalaluddin had invaded and brought into his control many Indian territories. He was succeeded by his nephew and son-in-law, Juna Khan Khilji, alias Alauddin. Fact: according to legend, Alauddin Khilji heard of the unparalleled beauty of Rani Padmini, wife of Ratan Singh. He went to Chittor with an intention to siege the fort and went in by saying that he wanted to see the Rani. Alauddin Khilji, 1290 to 1320. He is considered one of the greatest of sultans of Delhi. He came to power in a bloody coup involving the beheading of his uncle, Sultan Malik Firuz. Alauddin Khilji was a brilliant strategist and an outstanding military commander who was known for his ruthlessness. He repeatedly defeated the invading Mongols. He prefixed the title of Sikandar Sani, which means the second Alexander. Economic reforms and price control. Alauddin Khilji was an ambitious and a powerful king. His ambitious conquests required a standing and strong army. To maintain the army, he undertook various reforms. He took various steps to control the prices. He exercised supervisions over the market. He fixed the prices of all the commodities from top to bottom. Market officers called Shahna were appointed to keep a check on the prices. The defaulters were heavily punished. Land revenue was fixed and the grain was stored in government granaries. These market regulations and stability of prices were the wonders of his age. The soldiers and the civil population were greatly benefited from these measures due to the low prices of the essential goods. Measures against nobles. On his accession to the throne, Alauddin Khilji had to face a number of revolts by the nobles and some of his own relatives. He studied the causes of these revolts and made some reforms to root out these. For example, he took back the land and property which had been given to the nobles as gifts or religious endowments. He set up an efficient spy system. Afraid of being overheard, no one could move about or talk freely. Severe punishments were given for disloyalty. In this way, the nobles as well as the common man found it difficult to revolt against him. He also checked corruption. The landholders were forbidden to levy extra taxes on the peasants. Defense against Mongol offensives. Alauddin Khilji successfully defended his realm from the Mongol invasion. He improved the borders, fortifications, and established garrisons. He defeated the Mongol armies at the Battle of Jalandhar 1298, Kili 1299, Amroha 1305, and Ravi 1306. The last Mongol invasion of this period took place in 1307-8 under Iqbalmand and Taibu. They had just about managed to cross the Indus when Alauddin Khilji's armies overtook them and put all of them to sword. In that same year, the Mongol Khan Duwa died in the dispute over his succession. This spate of Mongol raids into India ended. Alauddin Khilji was an original thinker and brilliant as a strategist. He sent plundering armies under the veteran general Ghazi Malik of Kandhar, Ghazni and Kabul. These offensives effectively crippled the Mongol line of control leading to India. Expansion of the Sultanate. Gujarat. Alauddin Khilji's great generals Ulugh Khan and Nusrat Khan started for Gujarat from Delhi on 24th February 1299. The army crossed Vanasa River and captured the Rabosa fort. Karnadev Vaghela II of the Vaghela dynasty was defeated and fled to the kingdom of Devagiri with his daughter Devala Devi, and Gujarat was captured by Alauddin Khilji. Ranthambore. In 1300, Alauddin's immense army put a complete siege on the Ranthambore fort. Raja Hamir Dev, a descendant of PrithviRaj Chauhan, ruled Ranthambore. Informers kept on supplying Alauddin information on the food and water situation inside the fort. The ill-fated war ended with the Sultan's legions emerging victorious. Chittor. Mewar was the most powerful kingdom of all the kingdoms of northwest India. On 20th January 1303, Alauddin Khilji started for Chittor in Mewar. He ordered his army to storm Chittor. But hard as they tried, the Sultan's army could not break into the fort. Then Alauddin Khilji decided to lay siege to the fort. The siege was a long-drawn one, and gradually supplies within the fort were depleted. Finally, King Ratan Singh gave orders that the Rajputs would open the gates and fight to finish with the besieged troops. Finally, Ratan Singh was defeated and died fighting. Malwa. Alauddin Khilji's conquest of Mewar, Ranthambore and Gujarat struck fear in the mind of the remaining Indian kingdoms of northern India. But Mehlak Dev of Malwa refused to give in to Alauddin Khilji so easily. After a bloody war, Malwa along with Mandu, Dhara and Chanderi fell to Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin Mulk Multani was appointed the governor of Malwa. Marwar. Alauddin Khilji invaded Marwar in 1308. Satal Dev was the king of Marwar and the owner of the famous Sivana fort. Alauddin Khilji sent Malik Kamaluddin as the general of his army. After a fierce battle, the Marwari army was defeated. Satal Dev was captured and executed. Jalore. Alauddin Khilji invaded Jalore next. The first expedition was a failure. Khilji's army was defeated by Kehnad Dev Sungara. Alauddin Khilji then sent Malik Kamaluddin. The Hindu forces were defeated this kingdom by Malik Kamaluddin's forces, Deogiri and Baglana. In 1306 to 1307, Alauddin Khilji completed two campaigns. The first was against Raikaran, who was his expulsion from Gujarat, had been holding Baglana. The second expedition under Alauddin's slave general Malik Kafur was against Deogiri under King Ramachandra, an ally of Raikaran. Ramachandra was defeated and Raikaran was restored to his dominions with the title Rai Rayan by Delhi. Warangal. Malik Kafur invaded Warangal 1309 with the help of Rai Ramachandra. After a fierce battle, Malik Kafur was able to occupy the Warangal fort, and he was able to force the ruler of Warangal to sue for peace, to surrender all their treasuries, and to promise an annual tribute. King Pratap Rudradev of Kakatiya dynasty signed a treaty with Delhi. Alauddin Khilji got famous Koh-i-Noor diamond, once the largest known diamond in the world, from Warangal during this campaign. Dwar Samudra. After conquering Devagiri and Warangal, Alauddin Khilji sent Malik Kafur 1311 against King Veera Ballala of Hoysala dynasty ruling Dwar Samudra. Halebeelu, Veera Ballala surrendered without a fight and Kafur was able to force the ruler of Dwar Samudra to sue for peace, to surrender all their treasuries and to promise an annual tribute. Decline of the Khilji dynasty. The death of Alauddin Khilji in 1316 led to a war of succession. Shihabuddin briefly ascended the throne when his father died with the help of Malik Naib, who failed to garner support and was assassinated. Shihabuddin was moved to Gwalior, where he died the same year. His reign was 3 months and a few days. Qutb-ud-Din was 18 years old when he became Sultan. He mismanaged state affairs, assassinated and replaced many noblemen, and appointed one person who would change the fate of the Khilji dynasty, namely Khusro Khan. He invaded Deogiri in 1318 CE and flayed Harpal Dev. Gradually, he indulged in alcohol and debauchery, ignoring state affairs. Khusro Khan took over the government, captured the throne of Delhi, and held it for 4 months, after which he was defeated and killed by Ghiyas-ud-Din Tughlaq, who founded the Tughlaq dynasty in 1320 in Delhi. The Tughlaq dynasty, 1320 to 1414, case study. The Tughlaq dynasty was a Muslim dynasty of Turkic origin which established the third dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate in medieval India. Its reign started in 1321 in Delhi when Ghazi Malik assumed the throne under the title of Ghiyas-ud-Din Tughlaq. The empire grew under his son and successor Muhammad bin Tughlaq. The lowest point for the dynasty came in 1398 when Turco-Mongol invader Tamerlane defeated 4 armies of the Sultanate on December 15, 1398. Subsequently, the Sultan Mahmud Khan fled before Tamerlane entered Delhi on December 18, 1398. Ghiyas-ud-Din Tughlaq, 1320 to 1325. He had established himself as a great ruler. He removed corrupt officials from his administration. He reformed the judiciary and all existing police departments. He also reduced the land revenue to 1/10 of the produce. He was an efficient administrator and a capable military commander. He introduced a number of reforms for the welfare of his subjects and suppressed revolts in distant provinces. He restored peace and stability in Delhi Sultanate. In 1324, he turned towards Bengal with a large army where the Sultan of an independent principality aimed at asserting his supremacy over the region. He left charge of the government of Delhi on his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq. This expedition resulted in a general victory. Ghiyas-ud-Din died soon after this and was succeeded by his son Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq, 1325 to 1351. Muhammad succeeded to the Delhi throne upon his father's death in 1325. From his accession to the throne in 1325 until his death in 1351, Muhammad contended with 22 rebellions, pursuing his policies consistently and ruthlessly. Land taxation in Doab. Between 1328 and 1329, the Sultan increased the land tax in Doab, the land between the Ganga and Yamuna rivers, but the taxpayers resisted it, especially because a severe famine coincided. Shifting of the capital. The transfer of the capital in 1327 to Daulatabad was intended to consolidate the conquests in southern India by a large scale, in some cases forced migration of the people of Delhi to Daulatabad. As an administrative measure, it failed and created more difficulties for people, especially when it was ordered to be undone. However, the spread of the Urdu language in the Deccan may be traced to this extensive influx of Muslims. Issue of token currency. Muhammad ordered issue of brass or copper token coins backed by the silver and gold kept in the treasury. There were 2 scalable versions issued in Delhi and Daulatabad. The currency was issued in the 2 different standards, undoubtedly to follow the local standards which pre-existed in the north and in the south respectively. However, very few people exchanged their gold or silver coins for the new copper ones. Moreover, the tokens were easy to forge, which led to heavy losses. Tughlaq subsequently withdrew the forged currency by exchanging it for bullion coins. This drained the treasury because he had to compensate the losers. It is said that after the plan failed, there were heaps of copper coins lying around the royal offices for years. Battle of Kalanur. He crushed rebellions in Multan and Sindh. The Mongols of Chagatai Khanate under Tarmashirin, a brother of Kutluk Khwaja, invaded India but were defeated by the Sultan at the Battle of Kalanur in 1329 CE. Tibet Campaign. In 1337 CE, an expedition was sent to Kangra Valley in modern-day Himachal Pradesh with a motive to expand and secure the northern borders of Sultanate up to Tibet. This campaign was defeated by the natives. Khorasan Campaign. Like the Tibet Campaign, Muhammad dreamt of territorial expansion up to Khorasan in Persia, Central Asia. Huge funds were spent to raise a large army for this campaign. However, this campaign did not materialize and was abandoned by Muhammad, leading to disbanding of the forces. Decline of the Tughlaq regime. Muhammad also began to lose control over Bengal in Sonargaon, Lakhnauti and Satgaon. In 1341 CE, in Deccan, Hasan Gangu rebelled. In 1347 CE, a faction known as Amirs rebelled in Gujarat and Daulatabad but was defeated after a bloody battle. But taking advantage of the situation, Hasan Gangu invaded Daulatabad and established the Bahamani Sultanate, while the Sultan was quelling a new rebellion in Gujarat, hence losing Deccan. By the end of his reign, state institutions and infrastructure were falling apart, with disaffection and rebellion, mischief and sedition increasing day by day. Muhammad's last expedition against rebel Taghi ended with the death of Sonda in Sindh in 1351. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 1351 to 1388, succeeded his cousin Muhammad bin Tughlaq following the latter's death from a fatal illness, but due to widespread unrest, Firoz Shah's realm was much smaller than Muhammad's. He faced many rebellions including Bengal, Gujarat and Warangal. Firoz probably learnt many lessons from his cousin Muhammad's rule. He decided not to reconquer areas that had broken away. He decided to keep nobles and the ulema happy so that they would allow him to rule his kingdom peacefully. In fact, almost all the rebellions during his rule were inherited from Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He allowed a noble son to succeed to his father's position and Jagir after his death. The same was done in the army, where an old soldier could send his son, son-in-law, or even his slave in his place. He increased the salary of the nobles. He stopped all kinds of harsh punishments such as cutting off hands. He also lowered the land taxes that Muhammad had raised. He worked to improve the infrastructure of the empire, building canals, rest houses and hospitals, creating and refurnishing reservoirs and digging wells. He founded several cities, including Jaunpur, Firozabad and Hisar Firoza. In the mid-1350, she developed the city near Delhi, calling it Firozabad. Most of the city was destroyed as subsequent rulers dismantled its buildings and reused the spoils as building materials, and the rest was subsumed as New Delhi grew. Firoz instituted economic policies to increase material welfare of his people. Many rest houses, sarai, gardens and tombs were built. A number of madrasas were opened to encourage literacy. He set up hospitals for the free treatment of the poor and encouraged physicians in the development of Unani medicine. He provided money for the marriage of girls belonging to poor families. He commissioned many public buildings in Delhi. He built over 300 villages and dug 5 major canals for irrigation, bringing more land under cultivation for growing grain and fruit. Hindu religion works were translated from Sanskrit to Persian. He had a large personal library of manuscripts in Persian, Arabic and other languages. He brought 2 Ashokan pillars to Delhi from Ambala district and Meerut and re-erected one of them in his palace at Firozshah Kotla. In 1368 CE, when Qutub Minar got struck by lightning, knocking off its top story, he replaced it with the existing 2 floors and faced with red sandstone and white marble. Sultan Firoz Shah Tughlaq's death led to a war of secession coupled with nobles rebelling to set up independent states. His lenient attitude had strengthened the nobles, thus weakening the Sultan's position. His successor, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq too, could not control the slaves or the nobles. The army had become weak. Slowly, the empire shrank in size. 10 years after his death, during the reign of Naseeruddin Mahmud Shah Tughlaq, Timur's invasion devastated Delhi. Decline of the Tughlaq regime. Muhammad also began to lose control over Bengal in Sonargaon, Lakhnauti and Satgaon. In 1341 CE, in Deccan, Hasan Gangu rebelled. In 1347 CE, a faction known as Amirs rebelled in Gujarat and Daulatabad but was defeated after a bloody battle. But taking advantage of the situation, Hasan Gangu invaded Daulatabad and established the Bahmani Sultanate, while the Sultan was quelling a new rebellion in Gujarat, hence losing Deccan. By the end of his reign, state institutions and infrastructure were falling apart, with disaffection and rebellion, mischief and sedition increasing day by day. Muhammad's last expedition against rebel Taghi ended with the death of Sonda in Sindh in 1351. Firoz Shah Tughlaq, 1351 to 1388, succeeded his cousin Muhammad bin Tughlaq following the latter's death from a fatal illness, but due to widespread unrest, Firoz Shah's realm was much smaller than Muhammad's. He faced many rebellions including Bengal, Gujarat and Warangal. Firoz probably learnt many lessons from his cousin Muhammad's rule. He decided not to reconquer areas that had broken away. He decided to keep nobles and the ulema happy so that they would allow him to rule his kingdom peacefully. In fact, almost all the rebellions during his rule were inherited from Muhammad bin Tughlaq. He allowed a noble son to succeed to his father's position and Jagir after his death. The same was done in the army, where an old soldier could send his son, son-in-law, or even his slave in his place. He increased the salary of the nobles. He stopped all kinds of harsh punishments such as cutting off hands. He also lowered the land taxes that Muhammad had raised. He worked to improve the infrastructure of the empire, building canals, rest houses and hospitals, creating and refurnishing reservoirs and digging wells. He founded several cities, including Jaunpur, Firozabad and Hisar Firoza. In the mid-1350, she developed the city near Delhi, calling it Firozabad. Most of the city was destroyed as subsequent rulers dismantled its buildings and reused the spoils as building materials, and the rest was subsumed as New Delhi grew. Firoz instituted economic policies to increase material welfare of his people. Many rest houses, sarai, gardens and tombs were built. A number of madrasas were opened to encourage literacy. He set up hospitals for the free treatment of the poor and encouraged physicians in the development of Unani medicine. He provided money for the marriage of girls belonging to poor families. He commissioned many public buildings in Delhi. He built over 300 villages and dug 5 major canals for irrigation, bringing more land under cultivation for growing grain and fruit. Hindu religion works were translated from Sanskrit to Persian. He had a large personal library of manuscripts in Persian, Arabic and other languages. He brought 2 Ashokan pillars to Delhi from Ambala district and Meerut and re-erected one of them in his palace at Firozshah Kotla. In 1368 CE, when Qutub Minar got struck by lightning, knocking off its top story, he replaced it with the existing 2 floors and faced with red sandstone and white marble. Sultan Firoz Shah Tughlaq's death led to a war of secession coupled with nobles rebelling to set up independent states. His lenient attitude had strengthened the nobles, thus weakening the Sultan's position. His successor, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq II, could not control the slaves or the nobles. The army had become weak. Slowly, the empire shrank in size. 10 years after his death, during the reign of Naseeruddin Mahmud Shah Tughlaq, Timur's invasion devastated Delhi. Timur, 1336 to 1405. Historically known as Tamerlane, Timur was a Turkic ruler. He conquered West, South and Central Asia and founded the Timurid dynasty. Timur envisioned the restoration of the Mongol Empire of Genghis Khan. Timur relied on Islamic symbols and language, referring to himself as the sword of Islam and patronizing educational and religious institutions. During his lifetime, Timur emerged as the most powerful ruler in the Muslim world. Timur's invasion, 1398. In 1398, Timur invaded northern India, attacking the Delhi Sultanate ruled by Sultan Naseeruddin Muhammad Shah Tughlaq of the Tughlaq dynasty. He was opposed by Ahis and Jats, but the Sultanate at Delhi did nothing to stop him. After crossing the Indus River on 30th September 1398, he advanced and captured Multan by October. Timur crossed the Indus River at Attock, now Pakistan, on 24th September 1398. His invasion did not go unstopped and he encountered resistance by the governor of Meerut during the march to Delhi. Timur was still able to continue his approach to Delhi, arriving in 1398 to fight the armies of Sultan Naseeruddin Mahmud Shah Tughlaq, which had already been weakened by a succession struggle within the royal family. Delhi was sacked and left in ruins. Before the battle for Delhi, Timur executed 1 lakh captives. The capture of the Delhi Sultanate was one of Timur's greatest victories, arguably surpassing those of Alexander the Great and Genghis Khan because of the harsh conditions of the journey and the achievement of taking down one of the richest cities at the time. Khizr Khan, who had supported Timur in his Delhi campaign, was appointed as his viceroy on his return in Samarkand. Khizr Khan established the Sayyid dynasty in 1414.
The Sayyid dynasty, 1414 to 1451. The Sayyid dynasty was the 4th dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate from 1414 to 1451. They succeeded the Tughlaq dynasty and ruled the Sultanate until they were displaced by the Lodi dynasty. The central authority of the Delhi Sultanate had been fatally weakened by the successive invasion of Timur and his sack of Delhi in 1398. After a period of chaos, when no central authority prevailed, the Sayyids gained power at Delhi. That 37-year period of dominance witnessed the rule of 4 different members of the dynasty. Khizr Khan Sayyid, 1414 to 1421. He was deputized by Timur to be the governor of Multan, Punjab, Dipalpur and parts of Sindh. He took Delhi from Daulat Khan on May 28, 1414 and founded the Sayyid dynasty. He began his rule by June 6, 1414, but he did not take up the title of Sultan and nominally continued to be Rayat-e-Ala, vassal of the Timurids, initially of Timur and after his death his grandson and successor Shah Rukh, Mubarak Shah Sayyid, 1421-1434. He had the potential to revive the lost glory of the Delhi Sultanate, but the nobility was not in his favor. Despite his visionary outlook, Mubarak Shah could do nothing much for the Sultanate, as most of his time and energy was spent in controlling and pacifying the nobles. His nephew Muhammad Shah succeeded him in 1434. Muhammad Shah Sayyid, 1434-1443. The nobles made things more difficult for Muhammad and became a powerful force for him to handle. He managed to occupy the throne for 9 years. Before dying, he called up his son Alauddin from Badaun and nominated him as his successor. Alauddin Alam Shah Sayyid, 1443-1451. He was the last ruler of the short-lived Sayyid dynasty. In 1443, Behlul Khan Lodi attacked Delhi, but he did not succeed. During the reign of the last Sayyid ruler, Behlul again made another unsuccessful attempt to capture Delhi in 1444. Finally, Alauddin Alam Shah voluntarily abdicated the throne of the Delhi Sultanate in favor of Behlul Khan Lodi on April 19, 1451, and left for Badaun. He continued to live there till his death in 1478. The Lodi dynasty, 1451-1526. This was an Afghan dynasty that ruled northern India from 1451 to 1526. It was founded by Behlul Khan Lodi when he replaced the Sayyid dynasty, and this dynasty ended after Ibrahim Lodi was defeated by Babur from Kabulistan in the First Battle of Panipat in 1526. It was during the period of the Lodis that the first Portuguese Armada under Vasco da Gama landed in India. Behlul Khan Lodi, 1451-1489. He was the founder of Lodi dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate in India. He was born into an Afghan family of traders and became a renowned warrior and governor of Sirhind, Punjab. Behlul became Sultan of the dynasty on 19th April 1451. In 1497, Sultan Behlul Khan Lodi defeated and annexed Sharki dynasty based in Jaunpur. Behlul Khan did much to stop rebellions and uprisings in his territories and extended his holdings over Gwalior, Jaunpur and Upper Uttar Pradesh. In 1486, he appointed his son Babrak Shah as Viceroy of Jaunpur. His second son, Nizam Khan, Sikandar Lodi, was named successor, and a power struggle ensued upon his death in 1489. Sikandar Lodi, 1489-1517. He became the next ruler of the Lodi dynasty after the death of his father Behlul Khan in July 1489. He was also a poet of the Persian language and prepared a divan of 9,000 verses. He expanded Lodi territory into the regions of Gwalior and Bihar. He made a treaty of Alauddin Hussain Shan and his kingdom of Bengal. He was able to bring his native Afghan nobles under his control and encouraged trade across his holdings. In 1503, he commissioned the building of the present-day city of Agra. He took care of justice and agriculture. For the welfare of the people, he introduced a system, Ghaz-e-Sikandari, which was a 32-digit measuring system of cultivated land. Among the administrative changes made by Sikandar Lodi was the installation of Persian language as the official language for the accountancy in India. He was the first to introduce auditing in accounts. Ibrahim Lodi, 1517-1526. He attained the throne upon the death of his father Sikandar, but was not blessed with the same ruling capability. He faced a number of rebellions. The Mewar ruler Rana Sangram Singh extended his empire right up to western Uttar Pradesh and threatened to attack Agra. There was rebellion in the east also. Ibrahim Lodi also displeased the nobility when he replaced old and senior commanders by younger ones who were loyal to him. He was feared and loathed by his subjects. His Afghan nobility eventually invited Babur to invade India. Ibrahim died on 21st April 1526 in the First Battle of Panipat, where Babur's superior artillery and desertion of many of Lodi's soldiers led to his downfall, despite commanding a much larger army than Babur. A comparative study between the Khiljis and the Tughlaqs. Khiljis. The Khilji was a Muslim dynasty of Turkic origin who ruled large parts of South Asia between 1290 and 1320. It was founded by Jalaluddin Firuz Khilji and became the second dynasty to rule the Delhi Sultanate of India. Tughlaqs. The Tughlaq dynasty was a Muslim dynasty of Turkic origin which established the third dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate in medieval India. Its reign started in 1321 in Delhi when Ghazi Malik assumed the throne under the title of Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. Tamerlane, defeated 4 armies of the Sultanate on December 15, 1398. Subsequently, the Sultan Mahmud Khan fled before Tamerlane entered Delhi on December 18, 1398. Khiljis. Alauddin Khilji was the first Turkish Sultan to build an empire in India. During his reign, the boundaries of Delhi Sultanate extended beyond the Vindhyas upon the Deccan. Tughlaqs. Muhammad bin Tughlaq laid stress on merit and raised many people of humble origin to high positions. This defended many of the nobles and they refused to cooperate with him. Khiljis. To maintain his long-standing army, Alauddin needed large revenues. So, he adopted a bold market policy and controlled the prices of all commodities. Tughlaqs. Muhammad bin Tughlaq decided to shift his capital from Delhi to Daulatabad near Aurangabad. He thought it to be an ideal place from where he would be able to control both North and South India. Later, the Sultan decided to return back to Delhi as he could not check Mongol invasion from Daulatabad. Many more people died on the way back. It caused a lot of discontent among the people. Khiljis. The Sultan made arrangement for the government to buy all excess non-perishable commodities which were stored in huge granaries. Tughlaqs. In an attempt to obtain more revenue, Tughlaq decided to issue token coins in copper and brass. They had the same value as the gold and silver coins called tanka. So, now people can buy any commodity with a bronze coin as they had done with silver toliu. Common people started making counterfeit coins at home, thus reducing the market value of the copper and brass coins. So, this plan was withdrawn later. Khiljis. Kharaj, land revenue, was collected as a share of the agricultural produce. Alauddin Khilji had land reassessed. He fixed the rate of revenue at half of the peasants' produce. The revenue was collected directly by the state. Alauddin paid his soldiers fixed salaries in cash, and the peasants had to sell their produce to be able to pay the revenue. Tughlaqs. He used to please nobles and ulemas who allowed him to rule peacefully. In fact, their irrigation systems were improved and new canals and wells were dug, leading to an improvement in agriculture. Many new towns were built like Jaunpur and Firozabad. Khiljis. To improve the efficiency of army, the prices of horses were controlled. Horses were branded Dag so that they could not be changed. Also, a descriptive roll, huliya, of each soldier kept so that there was no substitution. Tughlaqs. A number of revenue reforms were also undertaken. Only the taxes allowed by Islamic law were imposed and all other taxes were abolished.
Art and architecture. Socio-cultural development during this period. The period of Delhi Sultanate 1206 to 1526 introduced some cultural and religious developments to India. The teachings of the Sufi and Bhakti saints and art, architecture flourished in India during this period. Cultural advancements. The Sultanate ushered an Indo-Muslim fusion of styles. The fusion of styles can be seen in every cultural aspect: architecture, music, literature and religion. Architecture. Many forts, tombs, palaces and mosques were built in the fused style. Arches, domes and minarets were built instead of pillars to support the roof of the buildings. The use of red sandstone to make buildings was common during this period. Most buildings were decorated with the floral and geometrical designs. Some fine examples of calligraphy like engravings of the verses of Quran can be seen on the walls. Qutub Minar, Jama Masjid, the Hindola Mahal, Gol Gumbaz, Jahaz Mahal are some of the monuments built during this period. Paintings. Artists painted miniatures in this period. Miniatures were used to decorate books. This tradition continued in the Sultanate period. Language and literature. The teachings of Bhakti and Sufi saints made regional languages flourish in India. Regional languages such as Sindhi, Telugu, Odia, etc. became popular. Persian was introduced to India by the Turks. Many translations from Sanskrit to Arabic and Persian were done. Works of famous poet Amir Khusro were common among them. New language Urdu was developed by fusion of Persian with Hindi. Urdu was widely used in the army camps. Music. The music in this period was enriched by Sufi and Bhakti saints. They evolved two new styles of group singing. Sufi style was known as Qawwali and Bhakti style as Kirtan. The new melodies or ragas in music were produced by fusion of Indo-Persian styles. Amir Khusro made great contribution in production of such ragas. Some new musical instruments like rabab, sarangi and sitar were also developed during this period. Disintegration of Tughlaq Empire. Causes. The Delhi Sultanate had disintegrated during the reign of Tughlaq dynasty. During the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, two kingdoms, namely Vijayanagar and Bahamani, rose in south and became independent. We will learn more about these kingdoms in this chapter. Rise of Vijayanagar and Bahamani kingdoms. The kingdom of Vijayanagar was established in CE 1336 by two brothers, Harihara I and Bukkaraya I. It was situated in the Deccan regions on the banks of river Tungabhadra. See map Vijayanagar kingdom. The empire was named after its capital city of Vijayanagar, now known as Hampi in Karnataka. This kingdom remained the most powerful kingdom for 230 years, from 1336 to 1565. It was ruled by three dynasties: Sangama, Saluva and Tuluva dynasties. The kingdom served as the center of Hindu civilization in the south. Case study of Krishnadevaraya. Vijayanagar Empire reached its peak during the rule of Krishnadevaraya, ruler of Tuluva dynasty. He was an able general who extended his empire by conquering the Raichur Doab. It was the most fertile region between Tungabhadra and Krishna rivers, the area between Vijayanagar and Bahamani kingdoms. Krishnadeva encouraged foreign trade by establishing friendly relations with the Portuguese, English and the Dutch. The trade and commerce flourished along the Malabar coast with the trading centers built on it. The king also made efforts to promote agriculture and irrigation, which are the rich sources of revenue for the state. The irrigation facilities were developed like buildings of canals, dams, tanks, etc. Administration. The highest authority in administrative matters was the king. He administered his empire with the council of ministers chosen by him. The whole empire had 6 provinces which are further divided into smaller units. The administrative ladder. 6 mandalams, provinces each headed by a governor, nadus, districts, gramas, villages. The administrative posts were obtained by inheritance. Economic conditions. The rich economy of Vijayanagar was largely dependent on agriculture, trade and commerce. The kingdom earned revenue by trading with foreign countries such as Africa, Arabia, Persia, China, etc. The revenue was also obtained by the land tax imposed according to its fertility. The other sources include the tax on property, on sale of produce, etc. The Krishna temple was built by Krishnadevaraya. Scenes from the Ramayana are carved on the Hazara Rama temple. The kings of Hampi were weighed on a balance hung here against the gold and grain they gave in charity. A stepped tank at Hampi. The elephant stables built in Indo-Islamic styles. The stone chariot in the Vitthalaswamy temple in the shrine of Vishnu's Mount Garuda. Paintings on the ceilings of the main hall in Virupaksha temple. Society and religion. The Hindu caste system was prevalent and rigidly followed. Untouchability was part of the caste system. Child marriage, sati, and polygamy were practiced by the society. Women were respected in the society. The empire was not built to shield Hindu dharma. The Vijayanagar kings were tolerant of all religions and sects. Architecture. The Vijayanagar empire was known for its beautiful temples, cities, forts, etc. Some of the famous temples situated at Hampi are Vitthalaswamy, Hazara Rama and Virupaksha. They are known for the magnificent sculptures carved on its walls. Literature. During the rule of the Vijayanagar Empire, poets, scholars and philosophers wrote in Sanskrit and the regional languages Kannada, Telugu and Tamil and covered such subjects as religion, biography, Prabhananda, fiction, music, grammar, poetry and medicine. The Telugu language became a popular literary medium, reaching its peak under the patronage of Krishnadevaraya. Krishnadeva was a great Telugu scholar who wrote a poem, Amukta Malyada. In his court, there were 8 famous scholars regarded as pillars, Ashtadiggajas, of the literary assembly, the most famous being Allasani Paddana. The Virupaksha temple, dedicated to Lord Shiva, is said to be older than the city of Hampi. Decline of the Vijayanagar Empire. The Vijayanagar Empire faded away with the death of Krishnadeva. His successors were weak. The rulers of Ahmednagar, Bijapur and Golconda, Berar and Bidar, the independent Bahamani kingdoms, formed an alliance. They together defeated Ramaraya in the Battle of Talikota in CE 1565. The defeat marked the end of Vijayanagar kingdom. Mahmud Gawan, the founder of Bahamani kingdom. The kingdom of Bahamani was established in CE 1347 by Alauddin Hasan. He was an officer of Muhammad bin Tughlaq who ascended the throne under the title of Alauddin Bahman Shah. Bahamani was the powerful Muslim kingdom. It stretched from northern Deccan to the river Krishna. The kingdom's first capital was Gulbarga and then Bidar became its capital. The kingdom remained in power from CE 1347 and 1527. Between these periods, 18 Bahamani rulers ruled. The kingdom remained in war with the neighbouring states of Warangal, Gujarat, Malwa and Vijayanagar. There were a constant fight over the control of Raichur Doab between Bahamani and Vijayanagar kingdoms. The Doab was the rich source of revenue, so the conflict continued even after Bahmani was broken into 5 independent kingdoms. Raichur finally went to 5 independent Bahmani kingdoms after defeating Vijayanagar in the Battle of Talikota. Mahmud Gawan, 1463 to 1481. The Bahmani kingdom reached its pinnacle during the reign of Muhammad Shah III. The kingdom was looked after by the minister of Muhammad Shah named Mahmud Gawan. He served the 9-year-old king for 18 years. Gawan expanded the Bahmani kingdom by defeating the rulers of Konkan, Odisha and Warangal. He reorganized the revenue system by increasing the trade with Iran and Iraq. Gawan was a patron of learning. He built madrasa in the capital city of Bidar. Students from different parts of the world came to study in it. The Deccani-Pardesi conflict was the constant problem faced by the kingdom. The problem led to the decline of the Bahmani kingdom. The Deccanis were nobles belonging to Bahmani kingdom, and Pardesis were the foreigners of Iran, Iraq and Syria who came and settled in Bahmani. Mahmud Gawan was Irani and Pardesi by origin. The Deccani nobles conspired against him in CE 1481 and he was executed on the order of the king. The successors of Mahmud Shah were weak. The control of the kingdom passed into the hands of the nobles. In the absence of strong rulers, the kingdom began to disintegrate. In CE 1527, the kingdom broke into 5 independent kingdoms: Berar, Bijapur, Ahmednagar, Bidar and Golconda. The 5 kingdoms kept on fighting among themselves. They were once united to defeat the kingdom of Vijayanagar. The kingdoms of Ahmednagar, Bijapur and Golconda were later annexed by the Mughals. Achievements, administration, art and architecture. The head of the administrative system was Wazir or the Prime Minister. The kingdom was divided into many provinces called Tarafs. Each province had a governor or Tarafdar or Amin. The governor's work was to collect the revenue. They had their own independent armies. Architecture. The Bahmani kingdom had a variety of architectural monuments including forts, tombs, mosques, palaces, madrasas and libraries. The most famous monuments are Jama Masjid of Gulbarga, Mahmud Gawan's Madrasa at Bidar, Gol Gumbaz at Bijapur. Hampi Case Study. Hampi was the capital city of Vijayanagar Empire, which lay on the banks of river Tungabhadra in Karnataka. Vijayanagar was the center of the largest and most powerful kingdoms of South India. It reached the peak of its glory under Raja Krishnadeva. Some of the foreign travelers who visited India during the period were Niccolo Conti from Italy, Abdul Razak from Persia and Domingos Paes from Portugal. According to their description, the city was well fortified. It was naturally protected by rocky ridges and the river Tungabhadra. The monolithic sculptures and monuments along the temples are attractive because of their excellent workmanship. The architecture found at Hampi reflects the Hindu culture and splendor of Vijayanagar Empire. The Vithala temple, which is one of the most splendid temples, is situated on the banks of river Tungabhadra. It is known for its carvings that decorate them. This temple was built during the rule of King Devaraya II. The Virupaksha or the Pampapathi temple is the main center of pilgrimage at Hampi. This temple is in ruins, but people still worship Lord Shiva here. The temple was renovated by Raja Krishnadeva. The temple has several mandapas with paintings on the walls. The Karnataka government organizes Vijayanagara festival in December every year. The temples were also cultural centers that promoted sculpture, painting, dance, literature and devotional music. The remains of rows of shops on either side of the road leading to the temple suggests that temples were possibly a center of commerce as well. The glory of Vijayanagara came to an end in 1565 CE when its forces were defeated in the battle of combined forces of Bijapur, Golconda and Ahmednagar. The city was plundered and destroyed.